And we are back from Rome at the Italian Open 2025, down to the two remaining matches. And now it's really down to less than a handful of players to crown who will be the champion. You need to pretty much go undefeated all the way through the 9 rounds. And between these amazing duelists and decks that have made it all the way through, we have at least a super familiar face who is Giovanni Barone, a competitor at the last World Championship who is trying to redeem himself and win this title with this Ryzeal deck. But facing off against him is another player with the same deck, that is Danilo Siracusa. We're gonna be having these mirror matches between literally, I think, one of the last 2 tables where both players are undefeated at the moment. So it's gonna be a clash of the titans, both 7-0, and who is going to advance will have a chance of becoming the champion by winning the last round. I think we don't want to keep you guys waiting. Without further ado, let's jump into game 1. A 7 from Giovanni, and it's good enough to start things off here. We did mention at the start of the day, although it didn't deliver on stream yet, that this deck was considered by many to be the best, and it is at the top tables for a reason. We start things off with Ice. And it seems like Danilo is considering his responses.
The response, here comes the axe, something that we have already seen today. And looking at both players' deck list, there are some differences. And something that Danilo is not playing is the field spell, which we have already discussed about this today, and there are some players which decided not to play it. Well, on the other hand, of course, John is playing it. And here goes with the Fiendsmith lineup, summoning L'Istinto.
And this is pretty much the usual opening when you're playing the Fiendsmith cards in the deck. This is the XYZ that allows you to breach these 2 engines together. And yeah, this is where the bestials are extremely good. And we do see a bestial.
How many is he playing, Danilo?
Only... No, I think
and
Giovanni...
Yeah, Giovanni is playing, yes.
But he's playing only the one, that's the big difference between their decks. Giovanni is only on 1 Requiem, so Requiem is gone. That's big. But yeah, he's playing... a lot of bestials, which is also the main difference. Because... yeah, Danilo is... I think playing the full package, which we have seen previously, with the Lubellians as well. And I think in a mirror match, you have the edge, if you're playing this deck list.
Yeah, I think the bestials are the main issues in the mirror match. This is what we said also before, and I think they make the difference, honestly. Especially in resolving your pieces, and yeah, looking at the amounts our players are main decking, of course Danilo has the advantage. And here let's see how Giovanni finds his way to deal with this. And okay, he has the sword. to continue.
Yeah, now that he's pretty much done using his Fiendsmith cars, he's gonna transition over to the Ryzeals. And here comes the duo, which is negated by the Veiler. I've been waiting quite patiently to use it. And this is usually where you will use it. And here comes yet another difference between their decks, because Danilo is not using the node, while Giovanni is running the one copy. And this way he has been able to set up this detonator. That's one pass, and play is to Danilo, who did a really good job to stop Giovanni in his track thanks to this Druid Sword plus Veiler. And now opens up with Engraver.
I'm really curious to see whether at the end of the day our duelist will dry of playing to the of the Requiem in their extra deck or one, because as we just witnessed, now Giovanni is out of them by playing only one.
Yeah, that's a huge deal, because usually even here the Lacrima can be used to access the Fiendsmith in Paradise, but if you're out of Requiem, that's not an option anymore, and that's a huge difference. Which is why Danilo is playing 2 Requiems, just to be safe against even cards like Unicorn, which have been quite popular. Here we see a nice interaction, which thanks to the Desire being used as a material, is kind of turning this detonator into multiple pops. And I think the Priodo is on Danilo to declare this Lacrima, and yeah, then we are gonna chain the Desire. If we want. Yeah. But definitely a good catch by Giovanni. Who goes to destroy the Lacrima. And still preserve the detonator materials.
There's a talent.
But there is a big talent which is used to draw. Okay.
So maybe he was missing pieces in his hand to continue. And he's hoping to draw into something, but yeah. You can tell that Danilo is not happy with it, and I think he's... Did he pass? No.
Okay, tries to bait Giovanni. Interesting line.
And here comes the Druid's Verb being activated on Nagmuri here, and all these bestials may make the difference in this matchup.
Very tense moment. Danilo really was hoping to find some of these Ryzeal cars and will at least be able to deal with the detonator, crushing it. And again, you know, these bestials really showing why they are so versatile. And I believe now in main phase 2 we are gonna use this Magnamut. Debating what to get rid of. Maybe another one off in the... Yeah, you can see him debating whether to get rid of this Desiree Forever. And he does. Okay, Impermanence is at least gonna stop the Lubellion from searching out. Do we have any Ryzeals? Probably not. I think we just enter end phase and we are searching for Magnamut. So a sigh of relief from Giovanni, who at least doesn't have to deal with yet another push. But these bestials are really getting into him.
And here comes the ice. Let's see if Danilo has a response to this, but it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, doesn't seem like he's interested in interacting at all. But he does have a few lines, so. Because as opposed to his opponent, he has the Lacrima setup for the Paradise. But instead decides to go for the Baldrake. Getting rid of a detonator and setting up a interruption, allowing him to negate it if he wants. But here comes a very good response in the form of X, negating the Baldrake. Thanks to the aggregator. Oh yeah, as mentioned, this was the big difference in the Bestials. Denying Giovanni access to his Fiendsmith Lacrima while allowing Danilo to still have access to his. But yeah, this is a beautiful game one for sure. With both players trying to maneuver what his opponent is holding into, but we see yet another detonator come down. Yeah, here comes Sword.
I don't know if he declared battle phase, because Danilo here is having a think. Yeah, he did declare battle phase.
Yeah, this is rough. Because if you... Which is also why I guess it was interesting that Danilo didn't use the Requiem before. But yeah, now he cannot use it because if he wants to use Requiem into Lacrima, he would lose everything to the detonator. And this way is pretty much hiding behind the defense of Lubellion. Which is actually not the easiest to get rid of. And we see the Dweller stopping the Fiendsmith of Danilo. But never mind the hiding, we switch to attack. Which means that Giovanni can just protect the Dweller and then negate the Lubellion, which smells a lot of trouble for our Giovanni. Let's see. Attempts to use the effect even though it's negated apparently, but yeah. Now goes for the Typhon in Memphis 2. Interesting execution for sure. And pass. Okay, so Typhon does manage to get rid of this detonator, but another ice coming down for Giovanni.
Yeah, looking promising for Giovanni here, and not much that Danilo can do about this.
Do you think that was a bit of a nerves getting to Danilo with the previous turn of the Typhon? Because, I mean, he could have just Typhon first and then attacked, right? But, yeah, I mean, Giovanni is just showing why this deck, although they're both playing it, has so much going for it. Another Abyss Dweller setting up what could be the last turn of this game 1. And only a face down from Danilo trying to survive this Dweller, which unfortunately would have not been there if he would just order things differently in the previous turn. And now it's up to Giovanni to fight back and find a way to deal this 4,300 damage needed.
Let's see if he finds a way to seal this one out in this game, but I think he's still sitting on the driving seat for this game 1. And the face down card from Danilo has been sitting there for the whole game, so yeah. Here the Dweller deal 17 damage, leaving him at 26.
And yet Danilo gets to live to see another day, and he will have access to his Fiendsmith again. Wow, and we actually commit to an SP. We recognize apparently that this detonator is not gonna be enough, and we go for SP to try and cut off Danilo from Requiem. The bad news is Danilo is playing a second copy, differently from Giovanni, who is about to find out in this turn. So hope is still there from Danilo.
This would make the difference if if he finds his way to activate the track here and pass for the second Requiem.
And yet this is the deciding moment. Giovanni is probably believing that this is it. But we have the second Requiem, and this is the big difference. And you can see Giovanni really shaking, you know, his head, being caught completely off guard by this. And what a decision it is by Danilo to include it.
Because he completely focused on the Requiem, and I think his play made a lot of sense. If, of course, Danilo was playing one, but do you think this could impact this game 1?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely the big difference. And in his mind, it does make sense because Giovanni would have won this game a lot of turns ago if it wasn't for Danilo banishing his own Requiem. And so he probably would have thought, okay, I'm gonna return the favor, so at least I'm slowing down significantly, rather than just keeping this detonator alive. But that's not quite how that went. And I'm sure he's regretting this SP a lot at the moment. I also think he might be... I think he went through all of the detonators. Like all 3, or like 2 copies that he's playing. Yeah, all 2 copies, yeah.
Yeah, it's just chaining the SP. Oh, okay, it was a bonfire.
Now 20 minutes are down. We see another talent for draw. And yeah, 25 minutes remain, and we are still in game 1 for one of the matches that matter the most. If not, I gotta say the match that matters the most, because oftentimes, if there is only, you know, an XO after the round, it doesn't even matter if the result of the last round is that. I gotta say this was table 2, which means that that is not the case for this event. They're gonna have to battle it out even in round 9 to find out who the winner will be.
What a turnaround of events here, incredible. And we thought for a moment that Giovanni was able to come back into this and he had control of the game. After being, you know, bestial, I think 3 or 4 times during this game. But of course, that choice, yeah.
And that is it. Wow, what a start to this round 8. You can see Giovanni really counting back whatever happened, because it seems as if, even though those bestials annoyed him, he was up and was just moments away from clutching the victory. But Danilo kept on waiting, recover from probably was a big mistake of his own in that Typhon turn, and had to wait out a Dweller that was not supposed to even be there in the first place. And I mean, in the end, those bestials, but especially that second Requiem in the extra deck, paid off. And now it's Giovanni who needs to, you know, find quickly a decision, because there are about 23 minutes remaining and he needs to win 2 games. What do you think about his side deck?
So he has the Solemn Judgments and the Dimensional Barrier, which can go in, and also the triple tactic thrust. So I think this will go in for sure. And there are 20 minutes remaining, so I think there's still room for the Galaga Cowboy, honestly.
Okay.
And on the other hand, there's the Metal Tronus being played from Danilo. And I like this side deck. It's like all 3 offs. So
yeah, very solid side deck. He does have Fuvalos, which can be annoying, but I guess next to it, as you've mentioned, Metal Tronus is a card that shines in this matchup, and that Giovanni is maining, so this was probably the main difference. But we did mention that by playing so many bestials, he was already ahead, at least in game 1. Different versions of the deck, the concept is similar, but we'll see who will be right at the end of this match. I think they are done with their side decks, so let's jump back into action. Here they are, and Giovanni is aware now of a lot of the differences between their decks. He knows that there is a heavy bestial count, and he will try his best to play around that knowledge. But we see the Fuvolos from the side deck, from Danilo. Do we have a response?
No response.
We do not, and this is big. It's gonna shut down completely the Fiendsmith combo. Like, that's completely out of the table. It would give him so many draws. So unless he wants to just go Detonator, he could go Duo. Let's see. And yes, skips on the Duo, goes for a 4 material Detonator, and probably calls it a day unless he has something to set from the side decks. He does have the talent. And let's take a look. Wow, it's so many different entrops. Plus, is it double ice? Yeah. Wow, it's double ice, which is even the worst thing because you cannot really send one back. Gotta be a little bit frustrating if you are Giovanni. But at least it's not the worst end that you're gonna be facing off against. Like, you are mostly afraid of a lot more engine. Luckily, I think he is on summon 4. Yeah. Go decent back.
The bestial.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. And now we set 2 cards. We have a lot of help from the side deck, possibly Solemn's Barrier, and Danilo picks up the Metal Thronos. Oh my, what a top deck. Do we have Solemn? Maybe that could be worth it. What a draw from Danilo. Absolutely rough.
Does he have the Judgment? Wow. It hurts so much.
Yeah, that was a brutal top deck. Probably the best card that he could have drawn. And he gets to resolve the ice.
And yeah, X gets the sword.
We have Barrier, or what is it? Book of Eclipse. We do have Ash if we want to negate it, and we use the Ash. So we are gonna follow it up with Barrier, which seems to me as if it was a little bit of a bait from Giovanni, probably hoping that this Ash would have been used here. But now we have access to the Fiendsmith engine with very few cards remaining.
And nothing that Giovanni can do about this. That Metal Thronos being top deck from Danilo was huge. And yeah, here Danilo is free to do whatever it feels like. And he's also holding on to an Effect Veiler and an Ibiru here with the Desiree.
He's gonna push a lot of damage. Gonna go and push.
Yeah.
This could be it. Is it it? It's over. It is Danilo winning. Wow. What an ending of this round 8. Incredible action. And for what looked as if Giovanni Barone was just moments away from winning game 1, we are now with what is a 2-0 victory by Danilo. What a show off, what a clash between Titans. And now, I mean, it's just might be a new kid around the block claiming the best version of the deck. And it might be this heavy bestial Ryzeal Fiendsmith deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think Giovanni piloted it very well in game 1 because I think Danilo activated at least 3 or 4 bestials.
Yes.
What made the difference, of course, was the second Requiem, which changed completely the game. Because like there was a moment in which we thought that Giovanni had it, and I think it made sense the move that he made to summon the SP Little Knight because of the Requiem, but another one was there. So
no, and I gotta say, upside of just that Typhon turn where there was a little bit of a sleep off, it was a really good demonstration of you know what this mirror match can look like and what are the good things that you can do to just improve, stop your opponent, push when needed, and it's really is a back and forth one, and I think it's by no chance that they were both 7-0. Unfortunately, only one can advance, and it was Danilo moving on 8-0, which means that I'm pretty sure we are almost guaranteed to see him in the next round for, you know, trying to win the championship, the title of Italian Open champion, which also means that we are actually not going to interview him this round. Instead, we might have a surprise for you guys coming up. But I'm gonna thank you for being with us. This was the end of round 8, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back soon with more action.